Welcome back to my weekly love and gratitude series. Of course, I did in French and now I'm doing it in English. So, today we will delve into a profound yet often misunderstood aspect of our spiritual journey, the relationship between the ego based mind and the higher self. The ego is also called the intellect. The ego can be described as the constructed self image or persona, which I call the ego identity, that we developed over time based on our experiences, beliefs, and social influences. So it is the aspect of the self that is concerned with maintaining a sense of individuality and separation from others. It is related to our physical life. We have an ego identity to function in our ego reality. It is not inherently bad. It is the aspect of our consciousness that identifies with individuality, separation, and the physical world. However, when left unchecked, it thinks of itself as almighty and it takes control of our mental space to the point that we think it is our first and primary self. And because of that, it becomes a limiting force, which is driven by fear, comparison, and control. In contrast, the higher self is the part of us that is eternal, expansive, and deeply connected to the universal wisdom. Our higher self is the essence of who we are beyond the ego. It is characterized by qualities such as love, compassion, wisdom, with a sense of oneness with all that exists. Unlike the ego, the true self is not defined by external factors or temporary experiences. It is our essence, which is pure positivity. It is source. Let's say like a ray coming from the sun. As Eckhart Tolle beautifully stated in his book, The Power of Now, the ego is not who you really are. The ego is your self image. It is your social mask. It is the role you are playing. Your social mask thrives on approval. It wants control. And it is sustained by power because it lives in fear. Reflect on this for the moment. How often do we allow our social mask, our ego identity, to dictate our actions, keeping us trapped in cycles of fear and self doubt? The ego thrives or blooms on separation. Through our thoughts and beliefs, it convinces us that we are alone, that our worth depends on external achievements or the opinions of others. This is the greatest illusion. Neville Goddard, in his Your Fate is Your Fortune, reminds us that the world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. What we see is a projection of what is in our mental space, what we believe, and who we are. So the ego projects its fear and insecurities onto the world, creating a distorted reflection. You can easily understand this. For example, when a few people are looking at the same thing but not seeing the same thing. Like when some people see a scene and they are seeing people helping one another, while others look at the same scene and the only thing they see is the problem, the hatred, or the jealousy. Yet they are looking at the same thing. When we become aware of our internal patterns, we begin to see that the world changes as we do. Awareness is the first step towards liberation, higher self awareness. Because from that standpoint, we see the positivity in the negativity. We are not blind to it, but it is not our focus point. I invite you to ask yourself right now, where in your life is your ego most active? So this means that you cannot see pure positivity or love and gratitude, but all the negativity and problems and everything that makes you afraid, or you only see the lack in what is. Is it in a relationship, your career, or even in your own inner dialogue? Recognizing an ego's pattern is not about judgment, but about understanding where it comes from and what's behind it. In contrast to the ego's fear, the higher self speaks the language of love and gratitude, of intuition and unity. It is the part of us that sees beyond duality and embraces the interconnection with all that exists. There's a beautiful quote that is attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson that says, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." This within is the realm of the higher self. It is the source of our deepest wisdom, creativity, and peace. When we align with our higher self, we shift from reacting to creating. We shift from negativity to positivity. And like I said, it does not mean we don't see it, but we don't focus on it. And our intention is not one from fear. So instead of seeking validation, we radiate our true self. Instead of grasping for control, we flow with the trust in the greater good that the ego doesn't know, cannot access. So, how do we bridge the gap? So, how do we move from the ego based mind thoughts to the higher self ones? It takes practice. It begins with practices of stillness and presence in your present moment. The higher self is in the present moment. The ego wanders in the past and the future. You can learn to be more self aware or higher self aware by meditating, by being mindful, so conscious of what's going on in your mental space, by doing some inner work and self reflection. All those help us quiet the chatter of the ego in our mental space so we can tune into the gentle whisper of a higher self. It is like learning to recognize the voice of this new friend in the chaos. So you must have lots of conversation before to be able to recognize that voice. It's energy. Higher self speaks energy. That energy is unconditional love. Jesus offered a profound insight into this journey when he said, "The kingdom of God is within you." The kingdom is not a place, but a state of being, an alignment with the divine presence that resides in each one of us, however you call it. Let me guide you to a simple practice so we can explore this connection together. Sit quietly and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, letting your body relax. Silently ask yourself, who am I beyond my thoughts? Who am I beyond my role? Who am I beyond my fears? Whatever arises, let it come and speak to you. Allow your higher self to guide you towards truth, towards who you are. Take a few deep breaths and say thank you for this present moment and open your eyes. When we live from the higher self, life takes on a new clarity. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Relationships deepen in authenticity. Gratitude becomes our natural state of mind and of being because we can recognize the abundance already present. We don't attract abundance, we align with its energy and all its forms. Rumi wrote in The Essential Rumi, try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one to come? This week, I invite you to notice the moments when your ego speaks louder than your higher self, and also the moments when your higher self speaks mostly through your energy at first. Which voice feels expansive and which voice feels constrictive? Choose to listen to the voice of love and gratitude and unity. The journey from the ego based mind to the higher self is not about erasing the ego, but about transforming our relationship with it, making our ego based mind our ally. Because it tells us when we are not aligned with our higher self or full potential. As we grow in awareness, the ego becomes a servant of the soul rather than the master of our mental space. Let that sink in this week. Thank you for joining me in this reflection. I invite you to carry this exploration into your week. Thank you for connecting with me, and I hope you enjoy my weekly Love and Gratitude series. May you walk this week with the courage to allow yourself to recognize your ego in motion and the grace to embody your higher self. Stop hiding your inner light. Let your light shine through your words, your actions, but mostly your thoughts. And remember to breathe in, to let go of all your ego based thoughts and vision, to see from your soul, and to love out. See you next week.
If you feel inspired by today's reflection, I invite you to support this series by donating through the links in the description. Your kindness helps keep this journey alive. Your donation helps me continue creating and sharing these reflections from the heart. Every contribution, no matter the size, is deeply appreciated.